It's really, you forget that you're just listening to one man's voice when these fantastic voice actors do these audiobooks. You really can believe that you're listening to all the different characters. It's really tremendous, and I can recommend that as something. And I bought a subscription to Audible. Yeah, because I like to listen to spoken word. The way to buy a subscription to Audible is to get 24 credits for the year and just spend those 24 credits. It works out, if you do that, it works out at under $4, or €4 or whatever you might want per book. And some of them that you can get for a single credit are really long. I have a course, only one credit was spent on a Japanese course, intermediate stage, which is an audio only course, about 21 hours long. Tremendous value for money. Yeah, it cost me effectively less than £4 per credit, because you get 24 and it costs just about £100, so it's about $100, isn't it? So less than £100, so it's less than £4 per book. And the shortest, obviously some of them that are quite short would still cost you a credit. You just got to be a little bit careful, because if you want in Audible then to spend money on something which is cheaper, yeah, and it doesn't cost all that much because it's quite short, well, you wouldn't want to use up one of your credits on that. You'd want to perhaps just buy it outside of the credit system, which you can always opt to do. What else can I tell you about Audible.com? Audible.co.uk is what I use, because I'm obviously from the European Union. You can get audible.de and audible.com, because it's an Amazon company, and the same options as you've got in Amazon are also available in Amazon.com. Not every book can be made into an audiobook. Not every book is an audiobook, but obviously there's about, I don't know how many 100,000 titles that you can choose from, and they have a certain quality. It's not just like in e-readers, where you can get on some e-reading platforms books which have no right to be called books, really. But and I'm sure that the same can apply to audiobooks. You can get audiobooks which are really worthless. Just because something's on an MP3 doesn't mean to say, or has been read out onto an MP3 doesn't mean to say it's worth necessarily your time to listen to it. But the ones that I've gotten at so far, and you can always check, there's free samples that you can listen to, a sample of whether you're going to get on with that particular author's voice. But so far I never found a situation where it was too quiet, or I didn't like the voice, because you can check it out before. The pitch is all correct, and within Audible you can also change if you think that somebody speaks too fast for you. So, and this is very useful, especially for learners of the language. Yeah, if you think that somebody's speaking too quickly for you, you can slow the pitch down of delivery. If you think somebody's a little bit too slow, or you want to listen more quickly, or let's say you want to listen more quickly because you've heard it one time already, you just want to quickly revise it, but because you know it, you don't need to have it delivered at normal pitch, you can have it a little bit faster. You can change within Audible's tools the speed of delivery, which is another great thing. And also you can bookmark, you can stick bookmarks in it, you can go direct to chapter. One thing you can't do that easily is you can't go making additional copies of it. It sticks there. You download it to various things, and there's no limit, as long as you say, well, this is my phone, this is my email. I've got the same files on my Android phone and on my Android-based e-reader, so that means that even if I run out of battery on the phone, I'd just open the same thing in the e-reader. You can download it, or you can just simply let it access the library. You can make the Audible program. In the case of my phone, I don't want it using my phone. My e-reader only has free Wi-Fi. There's no SIM card in it. So if there's no free Wi-Fi, then that's it. Then I can't do anything with it. Obviously, even with a free Wi-Fi, I could be in a situation where I could buy the internet access from using a credit card and pay money on it over, But in the main, I can't incur roaming charges or data packet charges. So on the e-reader from a mobile phone company, which I can on the phone if I'm not careful, I could go over a limit that I've had in my data packet, and so therefore I have to be a little bit careful with that. And so Audible, you can tell it to download things, and you can have a setting within Audible that you're only downloading it when you've got when you're not using your data packet, when you've got Wi-Fi available, and so therefore you can download everything when it's not going to cost you any money to download it, and it's there in your phone. Obviously, once you've listened to it, you wouldn't want it to be clogging up the phone's memory card. You can also tell it to save to the external card rather than your internal space. You get it, you've got options for telling it where to save to, and so therefore you can basically have them on your phone while you're listening to them. Once you've listened to them, you can take them off the phone. They remain as long as you're a member of Audible, which means repeating some kind of subscription every year. You could downgrade it from a 24-book subscription if you're not really hungry for lots of audiobooks. But if you didn't want to be spending like £100 a year in the future for that level of subscription, although because it's the cheapest way to buy them individually, I probably will do. There's lots of language stuff on there, by the way. It is absolutely the cheapest way to buy Pimsleur, cheaper still than Pimsleur Marketplace, and it's probably a fairly cheap way of buying Michelle Thomas. I think it's a fairly cheap way of buying Michelle Thomas. Check that before you check it on the Audible site. You can go on the Audible site and have a look before you commit to a membership. You can check it for yourself to make sure that that's true for you. Check it against any Pimsleur sales that might be going on another site. But Pimsleur Marketplace is considered one of the cheapest places to buy Pimsleur, and Audible just knocks it on the head completely. So I have Indonesian Pimsleur on my credits. I use up some credits. By the way, you get 5 Pimsleur lessons for 1 credit, which means that for a 30, if you're using the plan where you put 24, and it's just about €4 or something per unit, or something like a bit more than $4 per unit, and less than £4 per unit, you are getting a 30 course Pimsleur will normally cost you 6 credits in total, because they're running at about 1 credit for 5 lessons, which is 2.5 hours, as you can know if you're a regular user of Pimsleur courses. That means that you've spent 6 lots of £24 on a 30 lesson Pimsleur course, which you probably would know if you know these things. If you're a Pimsleur fan, you'll know that that's a very good price for it. So and not available either, even on Pimsleur Marketplace. Although there may be deals on. Check it before you buy. I don't want to feel responsible for leading you up a gum tree. If there's a sale on and you buy it on Audible, and you could have had it cheaper somewhere else, but I'm just telling you that you've got a good chance of getting it cheaper on Audible. How about that? We're just coming into Warsaw. It's actually my first time driving this motorway